All right. Let's get this show on the road, shall we?
Definitely.
What's up? All right. We are officially live. I want to thank anybody hanging out with us. Welcome to the Web3 Warriors podcast, first episode 1, featuring Aniket and the Neon Borgs. Let's do a quick introduction. The Web3 Warriors podcast is going to be focused on really kind of breaking down the potential that we see in this space that we call Web3, which is really just taking full advantage of the blockchain technology. We're going to be focusing on the implications for specifically the gaming space, which is why I've decided to stream these podcasts on Twitch, which has a big gaming community. Hopefully we'll get some people from the gaming space dropping in and maybe have some questions and learning opportunities. But really, I want to talk about the implications for the wider digital space as well, which is the reason why they call it Web3, as opposed to, maybe just a whole new system. It's actually building on a past system, right? So it's like the next layer of the internet, and it's not going anywhere. So we're starting this podcast with the idea that, we're just kind of at the beginning of this new technology, and where Web 1 was kind of the internet. Web 2 was like two-way communication, social media, being able to kind of take more of our life online. And now Web 3 is really the decentralized financial side of things, and being able to really own these digital assets and have this kind of new layer of value for digital assets on the internet, but also in gaming spaces and in metaverse spaces, as is becoming very trendy right now. On this show, we're really focused on the Web3 metaverse, which I like to distinguish from kind of the more broad kind of gaming and digital spaces that you can see, whether it's in virtual reality or even just meeting spaces in the digital world. When looking at the Web3 metaverse, it's really, you take that aspect of having the digital world, but adding the wallet and having a digital decentralized wallet connected to the blockchain, which is immutable. And once you own something on the blockchain, you essentially own it forever, unless that blockchain has a really fundamental failure and crashes, which is why people like to go with the most decentralized and widely used blockchains for NFTs, which right now definitely Ethereum is taking the lead, but there is Solana and Tezos as well, Binance, many others trying to carve out their own space in this NFT revolution, as we call it. So on this podcast, I will be interviewing a range of creators, NFT artists who are really making a name for themselves and selling their art and creativity on the blockchain, and creating new revenue and new opportunities for themselves, but also metaverse builders and people who are actually building out these new 3D spaces on the blockchain, which luckily today we have Aniket here, who actually has a long-term plan of building out an actual metaverse, as well as a current project that is really amazing art, as you can see on the screen right now, with his Neon Borgs project. So it's a little bit more about the show. Each episode is going to be about 1 hour long minimum. If it goes longer than that, we will allow the conversation to go where it wants to. We'll also take questions at the end of the show if there are any questions from the chat here on Twitch. And once the show is done, we'll be setting all the recordings up and putting them out on all the regular podcast networks, as well as a video recording for YouTube on the YouTube channel. Eventually we might simul-stream and have Twitch and YouTube going at the same time, but that was a little bit too much for now. So we're sticking with Twitch for the live streams, and you can tune in. Anybody who misses it, the recordings will be live or will be available on YouTube and podcasting networks. So thank you again, everybody who's tuned in here. So without further ado, I want to thank Aniket for joining me here. He is joining from India on the other side of the globe. Another very important factor about this Web3 revolution is I've had the opportunity to meet people from every corner of the globe and really, just be inspired by what they have going on. And we all kind of share this idea that creativity should be valued a bit more, and that creators should be able to be compensated more fairly and equitably for their creations. And I think the NFT space is really allowing that. And maybe I want to also give a quick plug to Clubhouse, because I have to acknowledge all of the amazing people that I've met on Clubhouse. And really what's inspired me to start this podcast is the work I've been doing with the Dream Conduit, do a quick plug, which is a group, DAO, building a DAO, and currently offering classes on Clubhouse and on Twitter Spaces, more so. But really just trying to help creatives and artists onboard into the NFT space in an easy and kind of safe and comfortable way. Because right now, a lot of the narrative around NFTs in the space is really just follow the hype, make the quick flip. If you don't sell out right away, you're a total failure, and really a lot of kind of toxic mentality, and people just kind of being a little bit too focused on the money maybe and less on the creativity. So the Dream Conduit has really been an amazing space for being able to just listen to artists for the art's sake and being able to help them kind of onboard. And both Aniket and I have kind of taken leadership roles in different corners of that organization. Aniket's helping us get that website off the ground, and it's looking beautiful. You can check it out at thedreamconduit.org. And I am leading the narrative conduit, which is helping artists with their kind of literature side of their NFT projects and writing and stories. So I've been hearing a lot of interesting stories through Clubhouse. Also want to give a plug to NFTs.Tips and the Blockchain Gospel, which is another community, other communities where I've been hearing from a lot of awesome NFT artists and blockchain enthusiasts. So yeah, with that to the side, that's what's inspired me. That's why we're doing this here. And we'll be having a lot of really interesting conversations with the people that I've met through that community, the NFT community on Clubhouse, and bringing them into the broader space here, and hopefully sharing with a new audience, and really showing people how awesome NFTs are and how amazing this Web3 revolution really is, and what we have before us, and the opportunities that we have to build and create and be compensated. And and I really think, again, gaming especially is going to have really big, massive implications because of this. Without further ado, I could ramble on about Web3 forever, but I got Aniket here waiting patiently. I think it's like almost midnight over there in India. How's it going, Aniket?
Yeah.
I want to share your whole resume. So I know you've got a background in comics. You've done some work for Marvel. I believe you met the great Stan Lee even. So maybe I'll let you start with that. If you could just share a bit of your background, and where you're coming to the NFT space from. Welcome.
Right, right. Thank you, David. Thank you for inviting me over to your show. I see this growing quite a lot, over the span of time, and all the things that you've mentioned. It's gonna help so many creatives also with the information which will be packed down the line as well. So yeah, uh, about me, I have been, in the creative industry, creative and tech industry. I'm somewhere in the between, like intersection of both. So it's a weird spot to be in, but that's where I'm like operating most of the times. And I'm a computer science graduate. From there, I went into creating the sort of digital art that you see on my Instagram most of the time. Do a lot of fan artwork, uh, shows and comics, things like which I've grown up reading, watching on the TV and whatnot, like the classic Spider-Man cartoons, X-Men shows, Justice League shows, and whatnot. So literally, like childhood has been shaped up with the stories of these characters and whatnot. And as I grew up, like studying my computer science, course from university, and I was like, I need something to cope up with everything that's going on. So just started to, started drawing these characters, and I've been like pretty decent at art since as a kid. So it just all fell into place over the time. And while I was doing all of this work, all the fan art that I was creating, it picked up after like a year or two and caught attention from Stanley over the time. And
Nice.
yeah, that sort of like put me on the map overall as an artist within the whole Instagram art community.
So when you
Back
say
when
when you say
Instagram
you
was,
caught the attention of Stanley, I gotta just pick up on that. So how exactly did that happen? Explain. So he just stumbled across
it's
your fan art, and he was like, "Wow, this is amazing."
Yeah, yeah, it just happened to be quite like that.
Hmm.
So back in the days, like Instagram was way more, the algorithms were better. They were you could reach people easily. That's the key. Uh, I'm talking like around I think 2016 or something,
Hmm.
2017, and Instagram in 2017 was way different from what it is
I
right now.
guess so. Yeah.
Uh,
The
yeah,
algorithm wasn't messing
uh,
with you as much.
yeah. I would, I was trying to do this daily art challenge. I was like trying to put daily art across to grow my audience, put the artworks out and whatnot. And this happened to be that one day the Infinity War trailer released and I created something and decided to post it and I went to sleep. Woke up next day, like it sort of blew up. Like it got significant drastic amount of likes compared to my previous post. Like there was a exponential increase in the number of likes. Like it went from 1,000 to like 7 or 8,000, something like that.
Wow,
So I was
nice.
like,
You got the viral
what
vibes
actually?
going.
Yeah. Uh,
That's cool.
yeah, and from there, like people started like resharing the post. A lot of fan pages also are there which talk about movies and shows and
Right.
whatnot. And yeah, they started picking up work. Screen Rant, one of the pop culture news website, they picked up the work, they shared it, and then over the time, started getting attention from people like Stanley.
Nice,
And
nice.
he shared it on his Facebook, and there was an article also long back about it. So this was like in 2017 around the time, and from there, like I just never looked back. Went into this whole industry like full on, and yeah, now with the rise of NFTs, like I see it as a medium to tell the same stories, create similar sort of impact that these shows have, these characters have had on my life. So
That's cool.
that's a little bit about me. I hope I didn't went on for too long.
Yeah. So you got pulled into the comic industry and kind of never looked back, and you've been plugging away, and now
Yeah.
you've got dragged into Web3, and you see the potential here.
Mhm.
So
Right,
share with us how Neon Borgs is kind of inspired by that background and what you're building there.
right. So I'm like, if you see a lot of artists around the world, right, they're trying to come up with these indie comics. There's a whole sort of movement around indie comics. So a lot of artists who just start off with the character design sort of portfolio and things like that, they eventually want to release their comic. That's the end goal. So you'll see like, but at the end of the day, companies like Marvel and DC and who hold a larger market share compared to these indie artists who they have their dedicated audience but not do not get that massive reach. They struggle quite a bit, and I have really wanted to like create some sort of comics because I have read so many of them, like stories and everything. So from there, like yeah, just wanted to create some stories, had a bunch of stories in mind, one of which happened to be Neon Box also. Just started to think about potential of how the use case can fit into creating this sort of comic universe on the blockchain with the stories that you can tell and fund it via the NFTs itself. Uh, Give a lot more utilities to the people so that it can stand out as its own project down the line. So that's what happened, and just sat down at one weekend, created the first neon walk that you see on the screen, the teal one, the sad one, right, the blue and all.
Yeah.
So that was literally the first work I made. I decided to just like give myself 2 days to launch like this collection of sorts and and build the story out as well. So I wrote down like a very high level plot of this story that I had in mind, and yeah, now it's been evolving, it's growing, and that's what has been happening.
Why don't you share a bit of that plot with us? Just kind of the genesis and how it ties into blockchain. Like, how is it a blockchain inspired comic?
Right. So, like lot of projects these days are create this sort of futuristic world, right? There's a lot of sci-fi going around with cyberpunk and whatnot. So I'm a huge fan because it fits my art style also so well. Like so I was like complimenting it well. So I came up with this story of there are these people who have always been sort of an outcast in the society, right, around the world. Uh, could be like ranging out, anyone could be an outcast, like it could be like someone who's a retired army officer, something like that, someone who's been served the country, or someone who's just not fitting into the society and whatnot. And there are some people who just do not fit well in their circles and communities and whatnot.
Right.
So these sort of people, yeah, and like the government of the future of the countries, they've been in the lookout for people to be experimented on and stuff like that, to create these neon verbs to fight the covert battles of the humanity and the battles which no one have heard of. And these neon bugs are the character which no one has also seen in their lifetime. So they're also sort of like a myth, sort of like a hoax. And now after like decades of after their service has been done, and they are like on the they were supposed to be retired and whatnot and terminated and things like that, but they went into hiding to save themselves. Then after decades, they're just showing up across the world. Why they're showing up, it leads into the next project that I want to build down the line. So it's sort of like this interlinked network of stories, which creates like a very, what do you call it, very scalable comic universe as well.
Cool, cool. And so you said it's building into kind of your next project, which I believe is Angoverse, right? And that's kind of a
Yeah,
broader a metaverse. So you see these Borg characters having different roles within the Angoverse. Maybe you can speak to that a little
right.
bit, and then maybe what inspires each of the characters. Because I know you got like a little monkey character, you got samurai, you know, you got different vibes going on. Like they each have so much character. So maybe after the Angleverse, you can dive into the each character.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah,
Right, right. To simply put, like Angoverse is like my version of this Marvel Cinematic Universe or DC Comic Universe, you can call it. Since it's on the blockchain, it's funded by the people and it's decentralized, of course. And I have always believed, like, there are so many instances where a lot of fans have inspired the original creators of the comic to, create certain storylines which have left an impact. One of the very significant one would be, uh, not sure if you have heard about the Venom movie which came out.
yeah. I haven't
So
seen
the
it yet.
character,
I heard it's a little silly.
yeah, yeah. So the concept of that Venom symbiote, right? It came from a fan, and
Mm,
that Venom symbiote then dawns on just gets attached to the Spider-Man's costume and gives him extra set of powers and
right,
whatnot, but also twists his mind.
right.
And that was such an impactful comic that till date, like it still is surviving, and the character itself has grown into so many at such a scale. So similarly, like I felt like a lot of fan theories inspire these actual official comics,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
they have not been given the recognition.
So
So the intention is
The character Venom itself was a fan fiction event originally.
definitely,
Oh,
yeah.
I
So
didn't know
the
that.
whole,
That's interesting.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
I thought you meant just
it's
this
a fan.
latest. I thought you meant this latest movie, but I didn't know the character itself was. That's pretty cool.
Uh, yeah, the character itself is a fan submission, you can say, right? So
Cool.
that's what was happening. Similarly, you'll see so many instances where these fan submissions inspire official comics, and no credit is given where it's due and stuff like that. And of course, they have their own, hierarchy going in the company and whatnot.
Right.
So both end of the spectrum are like, fair on their end. But I've always felt like stories come from people, and that's what I aim to build with Hangovers down the line. So I have like set these sort of plots for different stories and how the direction of these stories will be, right? One more cool thing that I'm trying to achieve with the whole project altogether is like any NFT that you see, it's not gonna be that, out of 10,000, only 10 are appearing in the comics. I'm looking to adapt every single one of them, at least in one frame of the comics somehow, so
Nice.
that people have that sort of contribution to the story.
So like even the different
And
colors of Borgs, like
yeah, definitely, definitely,
cool,
yeah.
cool.
So those things are, branching out into their own sort of unique characters and unique traits and whatnot. So people will be able to, dictate their own stories for their own neon box that they hold, or any other character for that matter from the hangovers that they hold. They will also be able to contribute to the larger picture, the entire universe storyline, like how it is interlinked and stuff like that. So I actually do have a blueprint in mind how to approach that. It's gonna be via decentralized app. It's been a work in progress from a conceptual standpoint, but
So
that's like
you're
the end goal.
building out a DApp for this project specifically?
Not specifically Neon Borgs, but Angoverse
Angleverse, yeah.
altogether. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I guess it makes sense. Eventually, it's got to be a DApp, right? When you're talking about a metaverse
Yep.
space. Yeah. That's a
Right.
decentralized
Definitely.
application for anybody not in the know, which is to say an application that's using decentralized blockchain technology woven into its software, right? So
Right.
speaking to that, when you look at these Borgs and you're saying you're going to be using each individual NFT, so each art piece will be somehow featured within the catalog. Are you looking at building a comic book first? Maybe I know you got a bit of a roadmap here, but like where
Yeah.
do you see the initial kind of funds from? Let's say you sell out all the Neon Borgs in your first wave. You know, is that going towards a comic book or is that going more towards the Angleverse build?
Right, right, right. So how I'm approaching it is, Hangovers is of course a bigger vision which houses all of these intellectual properties, right? Neon Borgs and the other projects that I have in line. Uh, the intention with both the things is like once Neon Borgs sell out and things like that, we deliver a set of utilities specific to this project as well, and then allocate some amount of funding to the bigger picture, like to the next project, and then we continue that cycle. Like we deliver for one project, we move to next one, and then at the end of the day, we interlink everything into this metaverse of sorts, and give people more utility with it.
Yeah, that's cool. And I guess the utility, I mean, once you have the metaverse, it's kind of unlimited what you could do as far as, yeah, special perks for your NFT holders and all that kind of
That's
stuff.
true.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So I guess looking at the characters again, just like what inspires each character, and especially I know you got the monkey, you got like yeah, just what goes behind kind of the creation of each character, and are you thinking about their
Right.
place in the metaverse kind of from Genesis, or is it more like the art goes first and then you kind of build around it?
So I would say like I mean I'm sure you're aware that this is what people have bought so far was the first version of the project, and then all that
Yeah, we'll have to go
went
into
was
that too. We got to
added.
share that with the
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah,
It's a learning
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
So
yeah,
at a high level, like the characters that you see are still gonna be there in this, So I'm sort of relaunching this project very, very soon, and the entire character set that you see here uh, is going to be there, but now it's more intentional, like where the characters come from, right?
mm,
So I spent a lot of time just figuring out, like I've written in the at the header of the website, like these characters from different countries, different parts of the world, but that does not really fit in with the character designs in some of the areas. So now it's very intentional from day one, where I have noted down all the points. I've gone through history and mythologies and folklore of different countries across the world. That's why I've been taking so much time to just curate the
nice.
project very well,
Yeah,
and all of this will reflect into design to some degree. Uh, a lot of people have also pitched in to help me out with the correct stories, correct cultural references, and things like that. Uh, I've spoken to a few people from within the Clubhouse community as well, like one-on-one basis, like how a Middle Eastern, the whole Arabic culture looks like. What are the elements that you can pick up from there and put it into characters like these, and which also makes sense to the story as well, like their powers, abilities, and things like that. So that's where I've been spending a lot of time on past couple of weeks, just like getting those things in place, and also working on the art parallelly.
nice, nice. Yeah, it's interesting. So I think it's important. One, you're talking about being patient and taking your time and doing the research
True.
and really plugging away. That's a really important kind of lesson for anyone looking to get into NFTs because rushing it does not pay off. If you're really lucky, maybe you'll sell, but it still won't be a good look because it probably won't work very well, and you won't have that much value for your collectors if you haven't thought about your long-term vision, or at least what you plan to do as an NFT creator kind of going forward. And yeah, just as far as that long-term build vision, and really speaking to the revolution of NFTs and what it offers creators. What's up, Frog? Appreciate you. And Triple T, see you guys in the chat. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so what it offers creators as a fundraising opportunity, right? So you've got this grandiose, you're talking about the Angoverse becoming like the Marvel Universe, right? So that's an awesome, big, ambitious goal to have, right? So you got to start small, and NFTs allow you through your creativity alone, maybe some additional gas fees at the start and some development fees if you want to build out your own smart contract. And there are, of course, background things. But with the NFTs, once you create that art and you mint the NFTs and you're selling it at 0.05, or in your case 0.035 ETH for each of them, and you're getting hundreds of dollars here, there, and eventually you've got a good nest egg to start from, right? And then you can take that and parlay it into a business or a development of either a comic book or your metaverse space. And I really just want to emphasize how crucial that kind of building blocks, or what we call in the space the roadmap, is, and how much it's really opening up the doors for creators and developers to be able to do things in these kind of new and revolutionary ways and really create value for themselves and for their collectors, who are the first people in the door essentially, right? investing in them, investing in the project, saying, oh, I love this art, I want to buy this art so I own it. I also like the creator, so I want to invest in their creations to support their future projects. And so it's just kind of a win on a win on a win. And down the road, if the project, of course, is successful and everything goes according to plan, you're going to benefit because you will have had that first Genesis NFT that will go up in value as popularity of the project goes up. So this is a really important aspect of the NFT space, and why there are so many creators kind of rushing to the NFT space, and especially like 3D developers and people building out in what have until now kind of been seen as strictly gaming spaces. We're seeing them become more kind of wide open metaverse or open spaces. And again, to gamers like us, it's not that new and exciting, but there's a lot of people out there who weren't hanging out in digital spaces and it's not as easy to grasp. And for those people, I think that's why we want to make sure to emphasize, how exciting the Web3 aspect of it is, because that's what's really new, the digital space, the gaming spaces, congregating online, that's not that new, but having that Web3 digital wallet connected to the metaverse, connected to your life in the digital world that you can then trade, sell, you create your own assets and sell them. That's just brand new, and that's what's revolutionary. So it's the Web3 metaverse that we're really focusing on here. Any thoughts on that, Aniket, and what you see, as the Web3 metaverse kind of versus Web2 world, and the way that things are changing?
Right, right. No, you brought up like really good points with respect to also the NFT projects, and of course for the metaverse aspects of things. One thing like I have noticed is like, what you also mentioned, that rushing a project won't get an artist anywhere when it comes to NFTs. That was also my vision last year. Like I really wanted to push the project out before the end of the year. The things were like, blowing up like crazy and things like that. Then decided to slow down, had a lot of good advice from people. So and just wanted to create at my own pace. If one more thing is like, there are so many gatekeepers within NFT community as well.
Yeah,
People who will try to influence your project in some shape or form. So it really like comes down to you. If you believe in your vision, just take your time to build it. And as long as the vision translates with your art, story, and very realistic sort of roadmap as well, I think it will go a very, very long way. Uh, yeah,
definitely.
that's like my 2 cents on like creating NFT projects. But apart from that, like the whole metaverse side of things, it's crazy. I think everyone at this point have like especially the game developers, designers have such an advantage over like everyone else to create a metaverse. Like I have been working with like two game developers in the past like for 2 months or so, like place where I work full time. So we are also aiming to build some sort of metaverse, and it's been going pretty great. And like that's where like I'm deriving a lot of experience from, and be able to build the whole metaverse out for Hangovers as well.
That's
So
awesome.
the
Yeah, we'll
yeah.
touch on that after. Continue though.
Yeah, the edge that these guys have over, the entire the Web3 space, it's unbelievable. It's just that the education is not there for the Web3 world. Like what are things that they can do with like say 50% of the skill set for the metaverse, and a lot of interesting problems to solve as well. Like running a metaverse on the browser, like what does it take, and what happens in the background, like how much bandwidth does one actually need to run a metaverse like Sandbox or any other metaverse for that matter.
Yeah.
So these interesting problems are like there. But one more thing is like as long as like that, there's definitely gonna be the whole Web3 connection to things. But I feel like to host these metaverses, to put them up and online, it's still gonna be to some degree centralized, like using AWS and other technologies out there.
Right.
Uh, so that's, I think, the next set of problems that, will have to be solved down the line
Yeah,
if we are
and
going for
and
NFT.
I keep hearing people. I think it's a bit of FUD, but I do hear a lot of people kind of saying, "Well, it's not decentralized," and I get it's not going to be perfectly
Yeah,
decentralized.
yeah, yeah.
And I feel like this is kind of the old capitalism versus socialism argument, where it's like, "Oh, it's never going to be fully capitalist." Like in the end, you're never going to have like a fully pure decentralized space. There's always going to be some endpoint where technically you could say, oh, it's AWS, the Amazon Web Services, that's a point of centralization. If they go down, everything crashes. So therefore it's not decentralized, or maybe in the case of a web metaverse, you've got, whether it's Decentraland or crypto voxels, although I think some are more decentralized than others, or Somnium Space, technically the owners or the group at the top, maybe it's a DAO, if they do certain things, or things could technically shut down. So again, not fully decentralized, but again, I like to emphasize it's the wallet that's decentralized. It's your access to the marketplace that's decentralized.
Yeah.
And again, more decentralized than we've ever had, right? So that's an important point. Yeah, there's always some point of centralization, or to some degree. But the goal is decentralized markets and being able to actually share your digital assets and trade them and create them and sell them. That's the new aspect, right?
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned, some level of centralization will always be there to some degree. Like it could be from the people, from the tech you use, or any other aspect for that matter. But it is also important that with NFTs, like it's the whole sense of ownership of your assets that people need to look
Exactly.
forward to, even if anything goes down, you still own these assets because on the blockchain, and you cannot tamper with it and things like that. So
Hmm.
you still hold something, and using those assets or using the contract of the previous project or something like that, anyone else could build on top of it, right? Could recreate the whole project, fork it or something like that, I don't know.
Right.
But there are a lot of possible ways to revamp a project in no time, and the community itself can show up to build that new project if anything goes down for that
That's
matter.
true. Exactly. You
So
got community support.
yeah,
Another advantage of having those NFTs. Like,
yeah,
okay, so quickly, you talked about doing a little bit of metaverse work kind of outside of this project. So you
yeah,
are kind of hired on the blockchain right now. So Web3 is paying your bills right now, right?
yeah. It sure is, sure is.
That's
I've been
amazing.
working for, I've been working in DeFi for a couple of months now. I think started last September or something like that. And we are building like a suite of DeFi products, which
And when
brings
you
more
say
liquidity
DeFi,
to the
that's decentralized finance for anybody not
finance.
familiar, which is to say financial dealings on the blockchain, which is very lucrative these
Yeah,
days. Sorry, continue.
yeah. Yeah, so thank you for mentioning that. We are trying to build this, we're building a suite of DeFi products, and I am sort of leading the whole product design and the design team there. So it's an awesome experience. So I've been able to all my Web3 knowledge has been, amped up by working on these products, how smart contracts work, how, tokenomics works and things like that. And I tend to bring all of that experience down the line onto the Angoverse as well.
That's amazing.
Like
That
maybe,
that's priceless, man.
yeah.
That's priceless knowledge. There's so many people creating
Yeah,
projects that have no clue about any of that tokenomics and real
yeah,
DeFi.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Looking forward to all of that, and in a way, like our metaverse is, I'd say, something that we're still working on, but it offers like a lot of a carnival sort of experience, like Comic Con sort of experience, and giving these multiple DeFi products in this space, a virtual address of sorts, whereas they would still have that address via their contract, but then the support and things like that, emails, events and whatnot. So we are offering them the space, people who are our clients, right?
Hmm.
They can own this sort of very customized sort of space that we are building for them, and they can, bring the community onto that space. They can interact with it. We are implementing some sort
That's
of
actually
some
so
level of
smart.
game.
And so it's a DeFi
Yeah.
platform that's essentially creating like custom spaces for their clients, custom
Yeah,
metaverse
yeah,
spaces for their clients.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want to share the name, or you're not allowed to share that?
I would refrain from
Okay, okay,
sharing
all
the
good,
name
all
for
good.
now.
I want to share a
But
message
yeah,
from the chat with you. Frog has that's one Frog Nine. You might know him as Brit from the Clubhouse community. He
oh
says,
yeah, yeah.
Aniket, having seen your work from the beginning, this is looking great. So he likes your Neon
Thank
Borgs.
you, thank you. I
um,
appreciate that.
Yeah, so I want to speak to the regenesis, and as you mentioned, I was one of the original holders of the Neon Borgs collection at originally launched on OpenSea. Can I quickly show this collection? I know nobody go purchase these, okay? Nobody purchased them because his wallet was hacked, but I just want to show it quickly. So I purchased this beauty, I think, the purple one, I believe. The purple one I got? Yeah, 003,
Uh,
this guy right here. So I got my Neon Borg that I'm happy of, and as an original collector, I will still benefit on the next relaunch, right? Which is
Right,
cool.
right.
So share a little bit about what happened. So he was compromised. Unfortunately, this whole collection is just going to sit there.
Mhm.
Nobody buy any of them because he's relaunching and this wallet was compromised. So talk to us
Right,
about how your wallet was compromised, and maybe we can give a bit of a learning opportunity for people in the space. So he has
right.
had to start over because his wallet was compromised and his amazing Neon Borg NFTs are not accessible. So share a bit about that, Aniket.
Yeah, yeah. Just happened all, in the month of October, somewhere around that, third or fourth week. If I remember, the date should be 20 or something like that, where I checked it, and I had a bunch of ETH, not a bunch, like a few ETH or something like that in my wallet, which I was holding on to from the work that I did, in the DeFi space, build this
That's
whole
rough, man.
project out. Yeah. So from there, like the whole hack happened. MetaMask was wiped out clean. Not exactly sure how it happened, but then there were chances of my system getting compromised. So that also on top of all of this, I had to wipe my laptop clean. So I couldn't really access my previous artwork files as well. So
Mm,
I had to like start from scratch. So I had like with the with the region assist, right? So I couldn't even access or use my previous files because there's that 1% chance of those files getting infected, which I didn't really want to take anymore. So
damn,
just started everything from
that's crazy.
scratch, all the art,
Wow,
everything. Yeah.
that's better, man.
Uh, yeah, but I think it serves also as a lesson for me and anyone in the community that having a hardware wallet always gonna benefit you, no matter what. And yeah, it's a it's a harsh pace at times. People you never know like when you're becoming the target or you might be using your wallet in like different places, and from there the compromise could have happened and things like that. So uh, to trace that point of to trace that vector where from where the hack happened, it's very difficult in the blockchain. You know who took your money, but you don't know like how it happened and
Yeah.
what led to it. That's the whole situation with my hack, and I lost like close to I think 14,000 as far as I remember. Uh, yeah,
Damn,
so that like set me back for a while.
that's harsh, man.
But yeah, yeah. So after that, like spoke to Dream Conduit team. You were there, Ravin was there.
Mhm.
A lot of people. Shout out to everyone, of course. And yeah, I think that also presented me with the opportunity to like go off OpenSea and like create my own contract and build like proper some things like which we have also control over. We can integrate seamlessly within this universe as well. So that's what has been happening with the regenesis of the project. One more learning would be for people to separate their hot and cold wallet. Like,
Mm,
it's, one hot wallet is where, you make all your day-to-day transactions on the blockchain. And a cold one is where no one has access to it. Anyways, no one should have access to your MetaMask, but
yeah.
even you don't open it that frequently. And it's like, on a different system, different browser, or a different wallet altogether. So I think those sort of learnings is what I'm taking with me
Yeah,
for the
it's tough,
regenesis.
Do you know how you were compromised? Like, was it through a Discord chat, or like did they kind of like get you to expose yourself, or it was more of a real hard like network hack?
It was more, I think, went more like a network hack because I was at work when this
Mm,
happened,
wow.
and I have no recollection of, my MetaMask
Yeah, you
pop-up
didn't
coming up
like
on my
accept any
screen.
weird
Yeah,
messages or click on any
yep,
weird links
yep,
or anything.
yep,
Damn, man,
yep,
that's the
yep.
worst.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reason why I felt like, my hardware was also compromised, like my laptop and whatnot, was
Mm.
because my Chrome history was wiped out for the 1 hour where when the hack happened, right? And that's
Wow.
like it's a scary thing to realize because, all the accounts are logged in onto your browser and things like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's when I went big on security of like securing everything, double checking, triple checking everything.
All right,
And
so I want to hit on what you just
yeah,
mentioned about cold and hot wallets. So the
yeah.
basic breakdown of that is you have your hot wallet or warm wallet on your computer. The hot wallet usually is like an extension, like the MetaMask wallet is the most common for Ethereum, which is where you will keep your Ethereum, and also your NFTs will be stored in there. And he's saying you can transfer it from that hot wallet to a cold wallet, which could be like a Trezor or a Ledger, which is kind of an actual, almost looks like a USB dongle, and you can actually store your Ethereum or any cryptocurrency on there, and you can store your NFTs on there as well. So if you were compromised on your internet and your MetaMask got compromised, they wouldn't actually have access to your cold wallet, which is your actual USB hardware wallet that you can transfer your stuff to. Yes, very good advice. Definitely recommend for any of our listeners, especially on the creating side, because all it takes is, you might not be selling a lot, and then next day you're selling like 1-2 ETH worth of stuff, and you've got thousands of dollars in your wallet, and you're a target. So you might think you don't need to worry about it, but especially on the creator side, I think it is very important to safeguard your assets and make sure that you double, triple check if you can. be very conscious. Yeah, and don't click on any links, especially in Discord. Especially in the DMs, they'd be crazy. Okay, so Frog has a quick question. Was it a compromised wallet sign or on a bad contract? Do you know exactly where that compromise happened, or it could even just be like they were looking at your computer and they somehow got in and were just like searching your computer, like through an email or something, right? Like it could be like a Trojan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was more of a Trojan situation because we went through everything, like everything that you can think of, like in terms of tracking. There was not a bad contract situation happening or like a failed transaction or anything like that because I hadn't made any transaction as well. So yeah, in a sense, like if your browser history is compromised, it means that someone has access to that application specifically, a Chrome application or Brave application or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, which gave me the whole idea of just wiping it clean and starting over again. So yeah, it's a bit of a rough phase, but like now, like all over it for now, and just trying to stay vigilant and start creating again, like
No doubt.
as soon as we are able to launch. Yeah.
Cool. I'm sorry you had to go through that, and hopefully that will serve as a lesson for any of our listeners. Definitely do your due diligence, use a hard wallet, even when you think you're safe. You never know, and especially as a creator, you just don't want to be caught in that position. Aniket has had to reboot. Luckily, he's got an awesome supportive community in the Dream Conduit, and we're gonna back you. We're definitely looking forward to the next iteration. I can't wait to get another Borg and see how the Angleverse develops. I'm curious. So you're actually, let me talk about the contract. So you're saying you're building a custom contract. Does this mean that it's going to be like a situation where you mint on your website, or is it still going to be published to OpenSea through a custom contract?
Right. So we are building it in a way that will be able to mint it directly on the website as well. But we are building something called as an upgradable contract. Upgradable contract allows you to link, like you can define a set of functions that you want to create in your contract for the future purposes. Since we want to link all of these things together, we are keeping that link open, a way for us to integrate every single contract together down the line, maybe for the metaverse as well. So because metaverse is going to have its own sort of contract and the own sort of things, and we need to have some level of access to the current contract, and that's what we're building as of now. So for sure you'll be able to mint it from the website directly. That's just the beginning of it, and a
And
lot
so
of
will there
potential
be
is
a
there.
generative side then, I have to ask? Is it going to be like you select the exact Borg you want to mint and you
Right.
just click mint on it?
Right. So right now I'm going with the second model, where
That's
you'll
really
able
cool
to
because I
see
don't think
like
I've seen that on a Web3 site, honestly. You don't see that too often where
yeah,
it's like select your
yeah,
specific NFT and mint it right here, I love it. That'd be really
right,
cool, man.
right. Yeah, I really want people to buy what they see,
Mm.
and the whole point of revealing NFTs and then the floor price tipping and things like that. I'm okay with my floor price tipping staying consistent from
Yeah,
day
I don't
one.
think you
That
have to
does not
worry about it,
matter.
man. The way you're rolling this out, it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, if
yeah,
there are anybody
yeah.
looking for a quick flip, then one of us will buy them out. No, that's
Yeah,
awesome, man. That's really cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing that Web3 site. So it's going to be on here on
right.
neonborgs.com, and you'll be able to just mint right
So
through. That's really dope. All
Yeah.
right. Exciting. We had another question. Triple T looking for clarification on the warm wallet versus the cold wallet. So he's asking, is the warm wallet just an extension of the cold wallet? So in a matter of speaking, yes. The Trezor actually links up with your MetaMask. So it actually is like a hardware extension of your hot wallet or your MetaMask wallet. And so like through Wi-Fi or whatever, like it's able to basically, I think, would it be Bluetooth, Aniket, where it syncs up with
Yeah.
your Trezor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, so basically your Trezor is able to sync up with your MetaMask so that even though it shows on MetaMask, it actually is in your Trezor. So if someone compromised your MetaMask, they wouldn't be able to get to whatever's in your Trezor. So in that sense, yes, it is kind of like an extension, but in another sense, technically not. Technically, it is its
Mhm.
own hardware piece that can actually hold both your cryptocurrency or your NFTs on the blockchain in its own kind of
Right.
hardware sealed hardware storage. That would be
Right.
the word. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if you have
Yeah.
anything else to add on that, Aniket. Aniket's far more
Uh,
adept than I am.
No, you just summed it up correctly. One more thing could be that the second wallet, the cold one, could also be a new MetaMask, which which you do not use as frequently to log into different website. You just use it to transfer funds from your one MetaMask to the warm one or the hot wallet, something like that. So the benefit of having that is also quite similar to the physical one, but physical one also provide that extra layer of security that you physically have to press a button for your money to get transferred to
Right.
any other person. But you will see like these days there are a lot of things happening like where people do airdrop of tokens and things like that, and those tokens could lead to your funds getting drained in no time as well. So that's like a whole new level of scam happening these days. Uh,
You're scaring me, Aniket. I've accepted a few airdrops, man. Should I be on the lookout?
I think it's important for everyone like who's receiving airdrop. Like it's free money, of course, but uh, also some level of due diligence is goes a long way. Like just looking at the contract, maybe roughly just once, like what's happening, or asking someone from the community to look at it. Hey, can you just take a quick look because they can link different level of functions with like the airdrop itself. So it's like as soon as you accept 10 tokens of this one, point 0.1 ETH gets drained from your wallet, and you won't even realize it for a while. And
Sheesh.
that sort of things are, yeah, that sort of things are happening now in the community. And there was like a massive rug pull recently, which I can't recall the information about, but been hearing quite a lot about these things recently, where people are skeptical about airdrops, and which is why a lot of these airdrops take place in the Telegram groups, and community there just focuses on auditing the contract of the project. So yeah, something to just
Yeah,
consider probably.
definitely something to think about. I know there's been a couple airdrops where I was like, I don't know, like both the gas DAO and the mask one. There was like a MetaMask one that
Mhm.
looked a little fishy. So, but then some of the
Right.
bigger ones. But yeah, like you say, just do due diligence. Like some blockchain, Solidity pros will be like, yeah, this contract looks legit, and you got to just kind of keep an eye out because I don't personally
Yeah.
know. I try to read the contract. I don't know what the heck I'm looking at. But yeah, definitely there are red flags to keep an eye out. So don't just say, oh, airdrop, I will accept for sure. And definitely never, ever accept an airdrop from a Discord DM ever. Ever.
Right.
Or anything else from a Discord DM relating to NFTs, frankly, especially if you
Yeah.
don't know the person. But even if you do know the person and you think it's a safe server, just stay away from the links in the DM. Double, triple check everything all the time. All right. After that public service announcement, so what is the kind of next big date we can look forward to, Aniket? What are you looking at in the short term? When can somebody grab the reiteration of the Neon Borgs and join and
Right.
support your project?
Yeah, so as of now, like I would refrain from mentioning any date. Like I had plans of relaunching it in the second or third week of January, which is like I've crossed, of course, short past it with the level of detail I'm going into the art and whatnot. So hopefully, like looking to release somewhere around like the first week of February, something like that, uh, when the marketing efforts can start again. I've been working on a new website altogether as well for the project, so that's gonna be something to look forward to.
Oh, nice. Is it going to be at the
Yeah,
same URL?
Yeah, same URL, a different design, something which is more detailed and whatnot. It talks about the project, the vision a bit more clearly. Something which I definitely rushed into with the first version of the project. So yeah, gonna be spending more time on those front. And yeah, like as I said, like I want to take my sweet time with the project so that this brings in that sort of credibility and trust within the people to stick with the vision in the long run. So yeah, which is why like I haven't mentioned any dates as such so far. It's like I've been estimating rough dates here and there, but of course like I do want to deliver like a good product altogether. That's what I believe in and looking forward to
I
doing that.
respect that, and it's interesting because
Yeah.
I invited you on here because I knew, well, for one, you're so knowledgeable and you're actually working in the Web3 space. So you have that kind of knowledge. And then I also knew your project is like a real slow build, like ambitious project. So I just thought it would be a really cool one to kind of bite into and see where you're at. And I don't know, did you have any questions for me, kind of like where you're at, or like any thoughts about kind of what you have going on right now? And is the contract done then? That side of it done at least, or you're still kind of ironing
Yeah.
that out?
We are done on the contract front. So right now what
Nice.
we are working on is the whole rarity part of it, like which trait holds more value.
Mm.
Uh, Also gonna be one more thing would be something to look forward to is like the entire rarity scale. I'm just building it on the Neon Box website altogether. Uh, just like not going for any third party integrations. Like everything you need is just on neonbox.com.
And
Just
how do
that.
you see that working in, because you're releasing them at 0.035 each, right? And if one's
Yeah.
going to be more rare than the other, and you're releasing the rarity scale, obviously people, I assume, will try to snipe the more rare ones, even because they're
Oh.
at the same price. You're not concerned about that.
Yeah.
It's just,
You got a point, yeah. So the 80 scale is something that only I have access to,
mm,
and I am not going to be reserving any neon work for myself for the project. That's something that I went into
come
like
on, you need one
full.
Aniket Borg. Need your own
Well,
superpowered Aniket
yeah.
Borg.
Yeah, we'll see. Or I'll just let the community decide when it starts growing up, which one they want me to buy. And the rarity scale itself is going to be released after the entire collection set is up.
Ah,
Is all the drops are done.
that's
And,
cool.
we have like at least 70-80% sold out. And we dropped the rarity scale altogether. But that's something that I've thought about from day one. Uh, Recently been I've gone through like probably like this is the iteration that I'm working on of the 80 scale is like a seventh or eighth one. So I keep changing things for like one neon work, one set of neon work and just affects everything again.
Right.
Go back, change everything again, and how the rarity is generated is it's via Python script, so it's not something that I have full control over. So it's also automated there.
Oh, wow.
Uh, yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's just that I have access to the sheet which I can look into, but which is why like I'm refraining myself from buying it the
I
first
got
few
you. I
drops
got
or
you. I
something.
mean,
Yeah,
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 that's interesting. That's really interesting. So when we look at these
yeah.
characters, for example, like maybe, certain colors, certain, features on their clothes will be more rare than others. And are they going to look the
Yeah.
same, or how do you see the new art shaping up?
Right, right, right. The new art is like some of the characters which are already there. I had to, of course, keep it for the existing collectors,
Yeah,
right?
for
Because they,
sure.
they have bought the specific piece of art, right? So the character design is there. You can expect some minor revisions here and there in terms of the elements which affect the rarity again. Uh, but what the collectors will be getting is the first 33 neon box, like number 1 to 33, of course, and which is why the rarity gets more complicated over time, so, because of the whole regenesis of the project. And yeah, so that's one. And on top of that, I have close to like 14 or 15 character designs this time. And the character designs themselves present some uh, play a big part in the rarity of the entire collection. So say, for example, if you have a monkey, maybe that's more rare than the others and stuff like that.
Nice,
So
nice.
yeah,
That's kind
yeah,
of cool. All right.
that's what is
And maybe
happening.
they have
Yeah,
like special traits, I guess, long term in the metaverse kind of thing. Is that how you see it?
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool,
yeah,
cool. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I don't know if you had any
yeah.
thoughts or questions just from a Web3 marketing or development standpoint, just kind
Mhm.
of where you see things going, or any thoughts on that? Questions for me, or even just more open thoughts?
Right. Now I've thought about few things. Been thinking about a couple of things on marketing front. So I'm just curious to know, like, what's the like. Of course, my project hasn't gone that full force since a long time. Like when the first iteration dropped, did a couple of drop parties and things like that. Uh, and I assume like the marketing has changed in the past couple of weeks or like past few months, right? So is
Mm.
there any sort of, advice that you'd give me to focus more on the marketing front? I of course have like basic plan laid out, but I'm curious to know, like, since you are like I went off the community for a while just to focus on the project and, focus on my job
You've
and
been
then
plugging
balance
in
both.
and working, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've seen Dream Conduit team just staying up, consistently. So not sure if what has changed. So if you can fill me in of what's been happening in the community, that would be nice.
For sure. We could talk quick on Dream Conduit and more specifically looking at marketing and the narrative side that I help with at the Dream Conduit, which is a group on Clubhouse right now, but it's also an actual nonprofit carbon neutral DAO that is helping creatives and artists onboard into the NFT and blockchain space and really realize this opportunity for success and revenue and compensation in the NFT space. So yeah, we are staying consistent with it. Thanks, Aniket. And we host like rooms pretty much 6 out of 7 days a week on Clubhouse. And I've been hosting the narrative conduits every Friday on Clubhouse. And yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't say marketing overall for the NFT space has changed too much, but there's definitely learning. A lot of learning that's happening and a lot of, like you said, like not rushing things, trying to make sure you have all your ducks in a row. I think the advantage of having a custom contract and a Web3 enabled website, which is to say a Web3 site or a website that can connect to a Web3 wallet, whether that's Solana wallet, Tezos wallet, Ethereum wallet. I would say Ethereum and Solana are kind of the two really big ones blowing up for NFTs right now, and it's more common to see Web3 websites. You don't see too many Tezos ones, but they are around as well. And those are kind of your three big NFT markets. But as far as like what you're doing, and I think once you have the new artwork, which is going to be very similar but slightly different, ready for public consumption, the more art you can share prior to launch, the better. That's one big thing I've learned because I've been brought into projects where they're like, oh, let's push this on Twitter, let's do this. We're going to launch on, in 3 weeks. And I'm like, okay, so what are we showing the people? And they don't have anything to show yet. And they're like, oh, well, that's still being made. Our NFTs are still being created. And then, a week goes by, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And eventually, maybe you're just creating the actual art like right before you want to launch. And then you're not giving people the time to actually like fully digest, A, how nice the art is, or B, what the actual vision behind the art and behind the NFTs is. So the big thing I think, like as soon as you have that art ready and you want to show it to the world, just say, hey, this is this is going to be the new iteration of the Neon Borgs. Happy to share it with you. If you can even say like a blurb about like what each one does and maybe even like just do it out in how do you say, like trickle it out, and really like, so this is the new 0 to 10 Neon Borg, his story,
Right.
and then maybe even give just a little like 1-2 sentence backstory on what he's about, and then kind of drop that out maybe like one a week or even once a day. All depends on the amount of content you have, but yeah, kind of tease it. Teasers are really big, I find.
Love that.
Teasers that are actually rooted in what your art is and what you're actually going to be selling on the blockchain, so there's no confusion when you launch and it's like, hey, this isn't what I've been seeing for a month or for however long, I want one of those. So yeah, I think that's been a
Right.
big learning thing because a lot of people try to push a project without showing what the actual project is offering, and it's nice, people
Right.
like ideas and things, but the art speaks 1,000 words.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would
So
be
that's
a big thing I would say for you.
yeah.
It would work really well.
Right. Right. No, I'm definitely taking that into consideration. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Let's hope like I'm able to finish the art very soon.
Yeah.
Probably 1 week, one more week. That's another reason like I didn't like drop the website or like start the marketing efforts like early on because I knew like I'll change the art again and again until the time I find
Yeah,
like
and make sure you're comfortable with
it's
it,
there.
do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, get that perfection
Yeah.
you like. It's all right. There is something to be said about not letting perfection be the enemy of progress, so to say. But I
True.
do
True.
think when it
True.
comes to minting art and when you're talking about like this is your baby, right? there's something to say about maybe you're never going to be 100% perfect, but definitely get to a place where you personally feel like this is your best effort and you're putting it out, you know? So
True, true,
that's what's
true.
important, because as
Yeah.
soon as you start sleeping on yourself, that's going to show through. You know, people are going to see that, like, oh, I don't think he put his 110% into this. He just wants a quick
True.
buck, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You
But yeah,
yeah.
your artwork's amazing. I
That's
don't think you have to worry about that at all. I'm sure your stuff's already looking good and you're just making little minor tweaks here and there. I have one
yeah,
more question
yeah.
for you. I do want to open it up to the chat as well. If we have any questions from the chat for Aniket or any just Web3 questions as far as NFTs and the metaverse go, please do share them in the chat as we've hit our 1 hour mark, and we'll be winding down shortly. I am curious, though, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, it is a very international space, right? The Web3 space and the blockchain.
Hmm.
And obviously, as you go to different regions and different countries, there are rules and regulations that make it a little bit more
Sure.
difficult for some areas. And how have you found it kind of in India? I mean, I look at blockchain in India, you know, you've got, what is it, Meta Coven, and like you got like some really
Yeah, yeah.
epic like Bitcoin collectors and big
Right.
whales, as they call them, in India, doing a lot of awesome stuff. But how do you see the overall kind of Web3 space and specifically the NFT marketplace kind of growing in India? Like, what's going on there?
Right, right. No, you brought up a very great point overall. So there's definitely some sort of you know uh, there are a lot of things going on in India with respect to Web3 as well. Like you'll see a lot of DeFi startups these days, which are going big, are either started from Indian founders or something along those lines. Maybe they are Indian founders, but not in India, something like that. There's definitely not regulations per se as of now, but there have been like on and off news about banning crypto, or like just regulating them to some degree. That's been going on and off for like two to 3 years. But I think even with that that sort of situation, that sort of climate in the country where people are now getting more aware of investing in crypto, buying more crypto, or uh, getting into NFTs, collecting, selling them, and India definitely is like creating uh, their own people in India creating their own sort of ecosystem with NFTs as well. Like you'll see there's a platform called as WazirX, which is
Yeah, Wazirx.
uh,
I've heard about them.
yeah, yeah, a lot of South Asian artists you'll find them there because they are on the Binance chain and gas is like literally pennies on there, and
Hmm.
they use BNB and their own native token,
And
things
do you
like
know why
that
they've
is.
gone with Binance instead of maybe Tezos? I think there's ByteBlock, right? Have you heard about ByteBlock? They're in India as well, I think, and they're a
Uh,
Tezos market.
yeah, I don't recall it,
Hmm.
but I'm curious to know like when did it start and if you have any
Yeah, I'll
info.
share a link with you. Yeah, I'm not sure how well they're
Yeah.
doing. I heard about them kind of, I don't know, it's been like June, July last year. I think I actually minted a photograph on there too, but I haven't gone
Right.
back and checked it. But they seem to be
Yeah.
doing pretty cool. But they're on Tezos.
Yeah.
But I know
Right.
WazirX is the one I always hear people from India speaking about.
Right. Right.
So do you have any
Yeah.
work on WazirX then?
I did have my work on WazirX, like just one artwork there,
Hmm.
and it was collected as well. But then my wallet was linked to so many other platforms at
Damn, man.
once. Yeah, that I lost like access to all of it. I still have access to it. It's just that I don't want to continue transacting with that wallet anymore
Yeah,
because it's been compromised once.
yeah.
So yeah, which is why like I have. So as of now, if you speak about it, like I am on all the platforms and not on all the platforms at the same time. So it's like that.
Damn,
It's
that's
a real
harsh,
storm to
man.
me.
I can't wait till you get
Yeah.
your new wallet, everything up and running, and,
Yeah.
and replace
Yeah.
all those assets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's interesting, like, but the climate in India with regards to like NFTs is definitely blowing up. A lot of mainstream personalities also slowly getting into the world of NFTs.
yeah. You got a lot of
Open sea
apes out there. You
launches.
got a lot of pop culture apes down there.
Yeah, definitely. You'll find a bunch of people owning a lot of popular NFTs as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's been happening. I've like heard of two, three more marketplaces now coming up slowly from people from the DeFi space who are now seeing the potential of the NFTs and whatnot. So that's something like to look forward to, and hopefully like yeah, we'll see more of it in the upcoming weeks.
Definitely, definitely. That's cool, man. That's
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah, and actually, next week I'm hoping to have Mad Bull Liz, who's going to be coming to us from Hong Kong. So that's going to be pretty cool. She's got a really interesting project that's been doing really well on OpenSea called the Mad Bull Project.
Right.
And she's
Right.
also been linked in on a new project coming up. So I'm really trying to get that international vibe in here and really speak to people on the other corner of the world. Although it gets a little complicated with the hours. What time is it over there now, Aniket? Is it midnight for you?
Yeah, it's like yeah, just closer to midnight. I would
All
say.
right, it's middle of the day
Yeah.
here, so I know it's getting crazy for
Yeah.
you. Don't see any relevant questions from chat. Triple T's asking me how I do all nighters, but I don't know about that. I didn't do an all nighter. I got some good sleep. I needed to be rested for this good conversation. um, Aniket, what are your, as a closing kind of point, what is your advice to creatives and artists who are maybe considering getting into the Web3 space and minting their art on the blockchain, but they're just, maybe they have been listening to the FUD, maybe, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt for those out of the
Right.
community. Maybe they've been listening to all these other narratives about energy and, environmental stuff, or maybe they're listening that, criminals are using the blockchain, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
What do you say to people who are just
Yeah.
hearing about NFTs but don't think they should be minting NFTs, even though they're amazing artists? What's your advice to those people?
Right. Right, right. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm in a position to give advice, but then
Oh, you are,
my
you
two
are.
cents on my 2 cents on things. I do have some thoughts like on these thread. Like, uh, I post my art on Instagram very act like I used to post it actively and whatnot, and then now I'm seeing like this whole sort of movement popping up where people are just hating on any artist who's just posting about NFTs on their mainstream to their mainstream audience. So I think NFT as a tech, as a fundamental, like it goes a very long way, which people like really need to look into the potential of. Like I've had my work stolen so many times, like in the mainstream world as well, like people creating
Mm,
rip-off merchandise off of it and things like that. That creates a, it brings that whole point of ownership into the picture right now. And of course, like if you see like a lot of mainstream artists who are not willing to mint their work as of now, they do a lot of commission artworks and things like that. They should realize that a lot more money had to be made with their art, and with crypto into play, they can get compensated very fairly. Whereas if they were doing a commission piece for say any big corporate or something like that, they will literally get paid like like what anywhere. I don't have a number in mind, but I would say like say 1 to 2 ETH or something like that. But that's something that you can make once you start actively, creating art on the blockchain. Uh, in the long run, of course, like you have to be consistent and whatnot, like any other field for that matter. Yeah, so just my advice would be to, just focus on the quality of the art and also the quantity of the art. It's not like artists keep spamming their NFT art on OpenSea and minting every single piece. So
mm,
the demand and of course the whole packaging of the art itself, like with the story, descriptions, what we do at Dream Conduit, right? Just like that whole packaging it all together has to be there with the NFT projects. And I think that's some sort of pattern that I've looked into. Like even my collector from VX was had the same mentality that they look into the art which has all of these check marks, in their art, good
nice.
art, maybe animation, some description, link to some sort of high resolution file, unlockables and things like that. And people can actually give so much more, like artists can give so much more to their collectors with the NFTs as well, which they, would have to think about twice in the real world. So yeah, just like maintaining that demand is also important, and marketing your art and packaging it all together uh, to like summarize it all.
Definitely, definitely some good advice there. I just brought up because you talked about how your artwork, even outside of the Web3, had been stolen. Just sharing some of your awesome fan art that you had on that, on your Medium post. That's got
Right,
a
right.
real breakdown here. So if you go to neonborgs.com and you scroll down to the Regenesis explanation, Aniket posted a really cool breakdown of kind of everything that's gone on with the Neon Borgs project, what he's working on, his own background a little bit, and he shared a bit of his fan art here, which has got picked up by Marvel and is really really dope. So definitely check that out. You should mint one of those, man. Do they own that for you, or are you able to mint that?
No, I am not able to
No,
mint
okay,
any of those.
because those would sell like crazy. But yeah, I could see there'd be some
Yeah.
copyright issues around that for sure.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but no, definitely people, if you're looking to get a full, even more full explanation of Neon Borg's project and what you can look forward to, definitely check out his Medium post that's on his website. Really amazing art. Aniket,
Thank you.
thank you again for joining us. It's been a
Of
pleasure.
course.
Hopefully, we have given all kinds of value, and people are really considering diving into this NFT space. You know, and Ethereum is a little bit more of the pricier option, but there is Polygon, there's Tezos, there's Solana. There are ways to get into the NFT space without having to pay
Mm.
some gas fees and that. We're not seeing any questions from the chat, so we're going to wrap up this first Web3 Warriors podcast. I want to thank all the listeners. This will be available on Web3 Warriors on YouTube. If you are interested in joining the Web3 Warriors podcast, you can email us at web3warriors@gmail.com, and we will definitely be happy to hear from you, and we'll be scheduling every week. So again, Saturdays at 12 Eastern Standard Time is when we'll be hosting these live conversations. We'll record them, share them onto podcasting networks and onto YouTube by the following day. So I look forward to that. Thank you again, Aniket. Maybe once the
Yes.
Angleverse is live and this project is live, we'll have you back again in the future. But thanks for being an amazing guest and having so many valuable points to share. I think you've offered a lot of knowledge here. Do you have any wrapping up words
Thank
or
you.
thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, David, for providing me the opportunity and the space to talk about my project and experiences. I think I've been through quite a bit in the last couple of months, and if anyone can learn through that, like, which is why like we put up the blog as well and multiple things. So I'm happy to contribute to the community as much as I can as we go. And yeah, looking forward to see the podcast grow, of course, and just launching the project also as soon as I can. So the expectations of the people are met very, very soon. Looking forward to just making it in the community,
Let's
as
do it,
we say.
Annika. I look forward to it, man. We're going to build
Yeah,
together. I can't wait to get my new Neon
right,
Borg and see what you got. So definitely share with the community.
for sure.
I also want to let everyone know there is a Discord link on the Twitch page where you can join our Discord. It's my Krome Discord, which also has a little bit of gaming content, but we're looking to get more Web3 content into there. So please do join the Web3 Warriors Discord. And if you want to connect and you had any questions or you just want to learn more about Web3, I'm always open. And again, anybody who wants to join the podcast, email us at web3warriors@gmail.com. And we will be live again on next Saturday. Great episode. Thanks, little Nate Dizzle. All right, everyone. Peace
Thank
out.
you,
We'll be
everyone.
live next week. Thank you, Aniket. Get yourself some sleep. It's midnight over there.
For sure.
Thanks again, man. I appreciate you. Until next
Awesome.
time, we'll be live next Saturday. Take care, everybody.
Yep,
Bye.
everyone.